Welcome back. You'll see my table is empty, no tooling on top of it. That is because in today's video I'm going to sort out the issue that I think is creating chatter. I'll show you just now what I've noticed, because when I'm busy on a mill, on a lathe, I get chatter, especially on facing, but not on doing any cutting on the sides. And that is very strange, because if the spindle was an issue or had play in it, then you'll have chatter in all directions. Now, even when I was doing milling as well, I was getting chatter in one direction on the y-axis, and nothing on when I reverse it. And yeah, that brought me back to the table. I think there's an issue with the table, and I did notice something sinister. Let me show you what it is. Okay, we shine some light in the back. As you can see here, on the outside, on the gap here, there's a gap. Now that gap, I believe, is the source of all my problems. That is supposed to have full contact, because it's supposed to pull the table down. Now on that little bit of surface area, I don't think anything of that sort will happen. So I need to take the table apart and then investigate and to see where's the wear and why that gap is there. Now on the other side of the machine, we've got full contact. So that is something I need to address. Okay, it looks like it's going to be an easy fix. As you can see, there's some dents and marks in here, and this is from the locking screws from the table. It seems like the design is such that it damages your grip in the process when you try to lock the table. So what I'm going to do is, once I've addressed this issue here, I'm going to take my locking screws and make copper or brass caps for them to stop this from happening again. I'm first going to clean this up and see if that cap clears. If it doesn't, then I'll do further investigation. Okay, I've touched it up with a grinder, a belt sander, and it looks, it feels a lot better now. Camera just doesn't want to focus on such a small area. It's better. As you can see, this thing is not ground very well. It's very bumpy. You can see a lot of high spots in it. Okay, now I'm going to clean up and reassemble it and see if the cap is closed. There's one thing to note. I'll just bring you in closer here. One of the reasons I don't like to use air on this machine to clear chips from my workpieces or from the bed itself. If you're working on top of a table, still fine. But the gaps here leads right to your lead screw. So every time you blow chips towards the table or anywhere near the table, it lands up on your lead screw, and then your lead nut wears out. So it's just something to take in consideration when you've got one of these machines. That air is not your friend here. And another thing that I need to address as well in a later video will be this lead nut. It's got quite a lot of backlash on it. It's around 0.7 millimeters, and that wreaks havoc when you're doing climb cutting on this machine. As you can see now, there's good contact. There's no light coming through the clips in both directions. Now this clip, for some odd reason, had a massive bow in it, and it wasn't flat on either surface. The bow wasn't consistent on both sides, so if you lay it flat on the surface, then the rock might be half a millimeter on one side, and the bow will dish on the other side by about 1 millimeter. So that clip was totally bust in my view. So it took me quite a bit of grinding and working it on a stone to get it flat. But at least now the table is rock solid, and I think my chatter issue should be on end. Now all I need to do is oil up everything and reassemble it. In case you're wondering, I'm using hydraulic oil, ISO 68, because the dust and particles doesn't stick to it, doesn't keep anything in suspension. Just one thing to note with these machines, if you over tighten your grips, this grip have a tendency to lift, and once it lifts, it loses contact with the set screw, because it lifts out of the range of the shoulder of the set screw, and then your table will either bind up or it will be extremely loose. So just be mindful that you keep that tension just right. Just nip it. It shouldn't be that tight or anything of that sort. And I must say the table also feels a lot smoother, and there's no rock in it. Almost forgot the important thing. Okay, off camera I've retapped these holes and deburred them from the inside before assembly. Now what I'm going to do is do a facing cut, see if there's any improvement. It's looking better. I'm going to increase the RPMs and see what happens then. It looks like a 200% improvement in my surface finish, so I'm pretty happy. I had one more test. I'm just going to do a chamfer and see. Yeah, even that is better. The machine is a lot quieter now. It used to make a racket when you do a chamfer like this or a facing cut. So I'm pretty stoked. I think I will solve my chatter issues on my milling as well with this fix. Well, I hope this was helpful and insightful. Until next time, enjoy.